Well, Gary, it's our pleasure this time to introduce new guests to our show this evening, which has been exciting because we showcase theater in the first segment, which is the granddaddy of all the performing arts.
That it is.
Yes, so it was delightful to see you and Michael connect and hear his actors perform stage readings of some of his works. Or maybe they're in progress, maybe they're ready to go. But now we are going to switch gears and we're going to leave the theater and we're going to go into production.
Yes.
Music production, studio production, something like that.
We're going to cover a number of bases this
Yes,
evening.
and we have to, since I blew the segment and we have to retape this because I thought we were having our filmmakers on this segment.
Supposed to say that.
But, well, you know, this is a live tape show. Okay, we're not going to spend too much or more of your time right now. This is the album that that our co-host is going to be talking about, James McGilvray, and it's the songs of David Prowse, who was a guest of ours not too long ago, and he is breaking out his new CD called Taking It to the Bank. So, Gary, how about we let James McGilvray, our co-host and producer, talk to our guests.
Well, for those who have long memories of Let's Make a Deal, why don't we do our best Carol Merrill impersonation?
Yes. Okay.
Well, thank you so very much, Sue and Gary. I appreciate that. And welcome to this segment. I'm so excited about this one. If you recall the previous show with David Prowse, we had an excellent segment, talked about a group that he was involved with, Tiny Alice from back in the day, and his wonderful blues harmonica. Well, something very special that he mentioned in that show has now come to fruition. And I have here two of the engineers, two of the key people in putting it together, Jeff McConaughey and Brandon Goldstein.
Yeah.
Brandon Goldstein. He said he would answer to either of those,
Yeah.
by the way. And they are with a company called Abydos Records. And it's so good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
And it's not just the wonderful music, it's what this is representing and what it's going to do. Let me see that CD there. Taking It to the Bank basically says it all. This music, first of all, it's awesome, but it's actually benefiting the Cleveland Food Bank. So listen up carefully and we'll tell you all what it's about. Gentlemen, how did you get involved in this particular project? Let's start with Jeff.
Oh, sure, absolutely. I had known David Prowse for quite a while, and I just loved his music, loved his playing, knew that he'd written lots and lots of music, and I was after him for quite a while to come into the studio and just put some tracks down.
Yeah.
Let's just start documenting some of this music that you've written for so long. And he agreed to do that, and we started working on weekends and just putting down, we got to about 28 songs of his that we had recorded demos of. And he came to me one day, we were deciding what we could do with this music. He came to me one day with the idea of, why don't we create an album that's going to benefit the Cleveland Food Bank? And I thought that was just a fabulous idea. And immediately, I mean, he was a little trepidatious. He didn't know. We put a lot of time and effort into this. And immediately, I loved the idea. And then he went, you know, a little crazy and decided that maybe it would be better if he could get Cleveland area musicians to perform this music on the album. And he started just asking people that he knew, Alex Bevan, Carlos Jones, people that he worked with.
A lot of people in the audience will recognize some of those names.
And you know, much to his pleasure, they immediately all said yes.
Now, what is David doing this evening? Obviously, he wasn't able to be here.
Yeah, he actually, his father down in Southern Ohio had some surgery. Nothing major, but he wanted to be there with his father for that. So he wasn't able to be here this evening.
But he's here in spirit, and
He's
we'll
here in
make sure
spirit.
that everyone knows.
Yeah, he's here on the
what he's
CD,
doing.
on every
Absolutely.
track on the CD. He performs mostly harmonica throughout the CD. That's the common theme through the songs. It took us about a year working with these artists after he started assigning, if you will, the different songs to the different artists to put it all together, and we wound up with 45 of the most talented, most well-known Cleveland artists performing on this CD, and what a privilege it was for me.
And we'll go over some of those in just a moment. Now, Brandon Goldstein, how did you get involved, and what was your role in this project?
Actually, I got involved a little later on in the process. I actually didn't even know Jeff when he started the process.
Okay.
I'm a musician myself, and a friend of mine was recording an album at Jeff's studio, and we realized that Jeff and I became really good friends right off the bat, and that I should probably jump on the studio. And so I started working on that, and really started meeting a lot of the musicians, and I used my engineering skills to help get the album to where it needed to be.
Well, and obviously it worked, because here's a quick review from the North Coast Voice magazine. If there was a North Coast Album Award, it would surely go to this one for 2011. And they go on to say there isn't enough space to tell you about how good every song on this CD is, but I'm here to tell you, Taking It to the Bank is packed with the most likable songs anyone at any age can appreciate. And even more beautiful, every CD sold will provide 16 meals to the Cleveland Food Bank's Harvest for Hunger drive. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that, how this came about?
Well, David had the idea that we should produce this album for the Cleveland Food Bank, which of course was a great idea, but we needed to have a formal way to actually make that happen. So we contacted the Cleveland Food Bank and had a meeting with Gretchen Moore, who's the manager of the Harvest for Hunger drive, who just couldn't believe that we were willing to work this hard and put a project together to benefit them. And when we got well into the project and got a lot of the details in place and started doing the calculations of what this was going to do, and discovered that it was going to be at least 16 meals for every sale, we just couldn't believe it ourselves about how well this whole thing fell together to help this wonderful organization that helps people in need.
And you released it, I believe, at the
Beach
Ballroom.
Yeah.
The Beach and Ballroom, yeah.
And how did that go?
That couldn't have gone any better. It was May 31st that we released the CD, and it was that Tuesday evening. We got over 150 guests to come to the Beachland Ballroom, which, I know Jeff and I were pretty impressed. The Tuesday right after Memorial Day in Cleveland, it's hard to get people out, and to get that number of people out was just mind-blowing.
So sales are going good so far?
Oh, yeah. Sales are going good, yeah.
How would one obtain a copy of this album to benefit the Cleveland Food Bank?
Right now, the best way would be to go to there's a dedicated website just for this project. It's www.takingittothebankcd.com, and the album can be purchased there. And there's also a lot of more information about the project. There's pictures, and there'll be more as we continue updating the site of the musicians that were working on the project along the way. There's a backstory, all the lyrics to the songs. So it's an interesting site, and it's going to become even more interesting as time goes on.
Well, and speaking of the musicians, please tell the audience some of the musicians on there. You mentioned Carlos Jones and the Plus Band.
Right.
Yeah. Please tell us a little bit about some of these musicians.
The Blue Drivers, which is a great blues band, which actually it's David Krause's band. He plays mouth harp harmonica in that band.
Man, does he play it.
Yeah, he sure does. Carlos Jones. Becky Boyd came in and did a track called Love Song, and Becky's just magical. It's just wonderful. We had the Sethro Quartet, Mary Martin and Betsy Marshall, Long Road, Daddy Sweet Roll, like Delia. Alex Bevan does a track on here that's a kind of a rock and roll type track.
Yeah, and he
really
just released his 20th CD, I believe,
right.
And has been a staple in the community
many years.
For many years, absolutely.
Tom Odegaard does Lifeline, which turns out to be one of the most popular songs on the album from the feedback we're getting from people, which, thank you, Odie. It's a wonderful performance. David does one song that he sings. It's called Papa Hemingway, and it's just a beautiful song. It's really just him and piano and keyboard. And then there's a fun song on here, New Millennium Blues, which has, you know, lots and lots of people singing, and there's like 13 verses, and even Austin Walking King.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he played
awesome,
slide guitar on that track, and also sang a verse on there. So it's you know, and lots of people sang on that track. It's a lot of fun.
Do you anticipate that there will be any live performances from any of the members of the group to promote the
You know,
CD,
that's a good question. And you know, we asked all of these artists if they were willing to participate and come into the studio to perform this, and they all very generously spent their time and talents to create this work. I don't know really how much more to ask of them.
Okay.
If these songs in their arrangements are, I believe, would be theirs to perform should they choose to perform it in their own show. But even when we had the release event, you know, with 45 of the best musicians in the area, we didn't ask any of them to perform. We had other bands doing the entertainment at the release event, so that when these artists came to the event to celebrate the release of the CD, they were the ones being entertained.
Now, Brandon, if someone wanted to just hear a tune, I understand that they can go to iTunes.
Yeah,
you can
you can get it on iTunes and
Napster, Amazon MP3.
Yeah, there's a whole handful.
Yeah, a whole bunch of online.
Yeah, as soon as it gets
stores.
online, they just go to multiple different stores, wherever you get your favorite MP3s from.
And I can't emphasize more the mission of this project to feed you know, people who are in need of a community that cares. The Cleveland Food Bank, Harvest for Hunger, I've supported them over the years. They do wonderful work. And so even if you have never heard of any of the musicians or haven't heard any cuts, just to support the food bank, it's worth it. But I can tell you that the music is absolutely exceptional. Also want to ask you to do this as well. If you get a chance to see this segment, obviously if you're looking at it now you are, please tell someone else about it. Tell them to go to our website. Tell them to take a look and ask them to get a copy as well. So now, how can they get in contact with you two gentlemen? I know that you also do other work here, work with other groups.
Yeah, we've got a lot of artists on the label and working in the studio, and we're always looking for more.
So what is the name of this studio again, and contact information?
Sure, it's Abydos Productions, which operates Abydos Studios and Abydos Records, which is our independent record label. And the best way to get in touch with us is to send an email to info@abydosproductions.net. Or they can call, let's make sure I get this number right, I don't call it often, 216-377-1070. And that's the studio number. There's usually not someone there to answer the phone, but you can leave a voicemail, we'll get it immediately. Because we're usually in session.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I have to tell you, Jeff McConaughey, it's been a pleasure having you here. Brandon Goldstein, both of you, bless you for the work that you've done here to benefit the community. Give our regards, of course, to David Prowse. And we'll make sure that you know as much about this as we can get out there.
Wonderful.
And, of course, we want everyone to continue to wake up and live with the arts.